back again. I don't think YouTube's going to catch up with me. I'm too small. So I don't worry about them at all. Alrighty. We got some people coming on tonight. Mr. Vaughn, I'm going to start off with him. Boom. Hit that call button. Get him added in really quick like. Bing, bang, boom, Mr. Vaughn. Ring-a-ding. There he is.
Hello.
Howdy. Okay, let me jump over here and grab Mr. Lance Mussa. Get him added into the call. He's going to stay on for the first hour, he said, and then he's got to go nap because he's got to drive at 3 a.m. And Mr. David F. Town Balla, get him added into the show. Lori said she'd be on, but she'd be a little late, so I reckon she'll hit me up when she gets in. There's David.
Hey, David.
What's up, guys?
What's up, man?
Nothing much.
So, we're just jumping right in, man, right? What do you guys want to talk about first? You want to talk about Irma? You want to talk about Middle East news? You want to talk about Korea? You want to talk about what do you want to talk about? China? What do you want to talk about?
It's about the hurricane.
All right, let's do that.
You know, it just came out now. They just gave a new update here. They said this thing's going to be sub 900 millibars by tomorrow morning.
Yeah. The lowest
and
recorded.
They're putting a direct bullseye right on Miami now, too, for hurricane force winds.
The lowest recorded hurricane that I've found so far in the record books was 888 millibars. I can't remember the name of the hurricane, but it was like back in the 50s, I think, or something like that. So if it gets down to 888, huh?
Category 6 when it gets that high.
Well, I mean, there's no sense. I read an article today that made very, very good, terminology when it comes to Category 6. I mean, if you want to just, do it because of wind speeds, that's something different. But if you're talking about damage potential, once you hit catastrophic, it's catastrophic, right? I mean, a Cat 4 is catastrophic damage. A Cat 5 is catastrophic damage. So, it's once you get to that, once you get over 200 miles an hour, over 185 miles an hour, man, what's the difference?
Well, you've seen the little island. Is that what you're going to say, Dave? The little island they got completely leveled?
Oh, yeah, that Barbuda got fucking leveled.
Well, Barbuda did, and
buildings are destroyed.
The eye wall went straight over the eye went straight over the top of Anguilla. So yeah, we're waiting shit to come out of there too. It's the photos and the videos that are coming out of there are just horrific.
Oh, yeah. That governor there, whatever it is, I don't know the head guy, there was on CNN tonight getting interviewed by Anderson Cooper, and the dude said it's just heart-wrenching. He said 90 to 95% of their buildings are completely destroyed. All their infrastructure's destroyed. Everything.
Yeah.
He said so far, like they said, he knows of one death so far, but he thinks there'll be a lot more.
And it's going to be just like Houston. It's going to be decades before they fully recover from this. This is unprecedented.
Well, in that eye that went through Barbuda, it's going to hit Miami the way they got it forecasted now. It could change, they said, but as of right now, Miami's right square in it.
Yeah, anything before tomorrow night late or Friday morning early is just guessing still.
Yeah,
it's too far out. It's still too far out. It could. Yeah, the going over the islands and stuff, it doesn't appear to have had any effect whatsoever on the eye wall strength or it's gone through several changes. If you watch the infrared loop of the storm when it was still way off in the Atlantic churning away, I mean, it was already a Cat 3. And watch the eye as it develops and then changes eye walls and then develops again and changes eye walls and develops again. When it comes back stronger and tighter than ever. So
well, that's what's happening now. It's going through another eye wall replacement right now as we speak. They said, they said it might go through 3 or 4 more before it hits Florida even. They said the thing's just intensifying, and this just came out too. They said that this the storm is headed for a corridor of increasingly warm water and little to no shear. Mm-hmm. And they said right before it hits Florida, it's going through that warm patch there between Cuba and Florida, and so that's going to really intensify.
Yeah, 88, 89 degrees, and they said that the intensity of this thing is going to be so strong that before Andrew, it went up to a certain point, but this is going to carry all the way up through into the northern part of Florida, into Georgia. I mean,
That's a Cat
this thing,
3.
the intensity is going to be so strong and so wide that people don't have a clue. If they haven't left and they haven't prepared themselves and said their prayers, you can kiss your ass goodbye on this one, friends.
Yeah, because they said that even if the eye didn't, it was 50 miles off the coast of Florida, the winds would still cover the whole state.
Well, I saw a couple of
The
projections.
storm is so massive.
I saw a couple of projections that said even if the eye went straight up the center of Florida, all the way on land, the whole way to the top of Florida, there would still be Cat 3 winds by the time it reached the top of Florida.
Yeah,
So-
I saw that too.
It's gonna
Either
be
way,
ugly, man.
they
It's
said Miami, after Andrew was new codes came in for these skyscrapers and stuff, but they said that none of them have been tested.
right.
This is going to be the ultimate test to see how many survive it.
Yeah, it doesn't look good at all.
200-mile-an-hour winds. How in the world can you test for 200-mile-an-hour winds on a structure that's more than 4 or 5 foot up, or 4 or 5 stories tall?
You
Well, that's
can't.
what they said. As a skyscraper goes up, the wind speed gets faster because you got less ground resistance. And so as you're up on the 80th floor of a skyscraper, you're going to get a lot more winds than what they got on the bottom. And they said, plus these new skyscrapers since Andrew, Miami's got huge since Andrew. I mean, a lot of condos and stuff have come in. And they said that just the wind shear going between these skyscrapers now is going to increase it throughout the city. It's going to create like wind tunnels between these buildings.
Yep. That's how those, I mean, if you guys watched any of the footage of the tornadoes and stuff that have been going on over in China, you see those women getting tossed down the street and up into that guardrail and stuff. That's the reason why they were walking in between the buildings and got caught by one of them gusts.
They're comparing this to that super typhoon Haiyan that hit China a while back.
Hainan,
They said
yeah.
this is like a super typhoon like China had.
Yep.
Well, they showed the one island there, one after Belbeda, and that island, within the short time that it passed over, had the cars buried under water. I mean, the streets were completely flooded. Everything was flooded. So that was within minutes that happened.
Yeah. So
So,
far,
yeah.
Barbuda has been hit directly. St. Mark's has been hit with eye wall winds. It wasn't the eye didn't go over it, but the eye wall winds caught St. Mark's, and Anguilla has gone under the eye. So, and it's headed right straight for the Virgin Islands now. So that's going to tear the shit out of them too. And that's all kinds of resorts and whatever and boats, and
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what the damage.
Puerto Rico got lucky. It just went north of there.
Yeah, it's
They're getting a lot of rain, but they missed the eye of it.
Well, they showed the winds coming past the one of the apartment buildings that was there, and those winds were blowing so hard. I mean, I've been in one, I've been in several hurricanes, but when you hear that kind of wind coming like a freight train, and you're within inches from it, you know it ain't good.
right. It sounded. I mean, it was just unbelievable. I mean, it was deafening.
Yeah, it sounded like a
couple of
train going through there.
Yep. Consistently too. I mean, it wasn't gusty. It was consistent, straight line. Just, I mean, I made that comment in one of your posts on Facebook, Dave. I'll bet at wind speeds at 185 miles an hour. I mean, even rain feels like bullets hitting you. It's just unbelievable. That one lady, after the storm had gone through and the flooding was still in, she was just standing on her balcony, moving the camera around, going, "Oh my God. Oh my God! Oh my!" And there was no roofs left on anybody's house. There was shit everywhere. The cars were flipped over, and ugh. I can't even imagine. Don't
It's gonna
if
be
anybody's listening,
catastrophic.
if anybody's listening to me that's in the path of this thing, don't even play, man. Don't even play. Just get out. If you saw any kind of footage on 75 today, that highway, that interstate is already bumper to bumper headed north. And it's still 5 days out. So at least a lot of people are heeding the warnings. The governor of Florida's been on there. The mayor of Miami's been on there and said, we're not, we're leaving. So there won't be any 911. There won't be any, there will be no one for you to call because all the first responders are leaving too. So
Well, they said if this comes up straight through Florida, there will be no power, no
For
water,
weeks.
and no food for months.
well, yeah, I heard weeks. I didn't hear months.
Months, because it will destroy every power line, every transformer, everything that storm can tear apart is going to tear apart. And what that don't get, the one in the Gulf is going to get next.
I don't think the one in the Gulf's going to go anywhere except into Mexico. But there's another one called Katia or something that's coming right behind Irma. And, you know, from the models that I saw, it makes a little loop-de-loop out in the Atlantic and then comes back around and hits Florida later on, like a week later.
Well, that one in the Gulf is headed due east right now. Due east.
Yeah, but it's
right.
It's on the Mexican coast. So
yeah, but it's moving quicker and growing faster than that one behind Irma. I just got the report on that, and it's got the potential of joining up with Irma and doing some hellacious damage. That's what I'm getting at.
Oh, we'll see what happens. There's a big high pressure system coming down through the United States too. That's, I don't know. There's all kinds of models out there. You gotta take all that shit with a grain of salt. You know, like I said, anything more than 5 days in advance of actual landfall is just a guess. So, because they don't know they don't know what's going to happen. We still don't know. We're just predicting stuff anyway.
I will say this though, that Florida is going to suffer catastrophic damage no matter if it goes east or west or up the middle. And the question is this: Houston is already up to $200 billion to repair it, and it's going to say close to $500 billion by the time it's said and done. And the FEMA's already saying we're running out of money, and they're asking the government for more already. They already allocated a little bit toward Florida, but not near enough, man. And that's what people need to realize, man. We're getting hit with 2 catastrophes back to back. This country's, man, we're going to be hurting after this.
And peak season's still 5 weeks long. This isn't the last hurricane that's going to be stirred up out in the Atlantic by far. So, yeah, it's just, wait and see. Wait and see what's going on out in the West, man. And nobody, you don't see hardly any posts. No, there's hardly no posts on Facebook. It's all about the hurricanes, and there's no posts about the fires. The fires are unbelievable out west. 3 firefighters were wrecked their vehicle today and were overcome, or actually it was yesterday. They had to leave them overnight in the vehicle and were overcome by fire. It was fast enough that they couldn't get out of the way.
I posted a couple stories in my group today. One town was the day before yesterday. They lost 35 houses in one town, all burned to the ground.
It's unbelievable, man. And,
FEMA's got to take care of all that, too.
Yeah, FEMA. Fuck FEMA.
They're not going to be nothing. FEMA's not going to be nothing left of them by the time all this is said and done.
They don't do shit anyway, man. They're fucking joke. They're like the Red Cross. They're a fucking joke.
The governor of Florida was speaking earlier today, and he said, they're trying to get generators, but Houston's got them all. And they said they've been able to get a few back from Houston, but not near enough.
Oh, fucking well. Houston needs them. You're going to take it away from people?
Right into what's going on with China and what's going on with Korea. They're watching this opportunity like a hawk.
Yeah. It's not, it's no good. They're just going to watch us fucking tear ourselves apart, man. They ain't going to have to fire a shot. I said that 2 weeks ago. They ain't going to have to fire a shot. If anybody starts this war, it's going to be the U.S., and we're trying like hell. But let's keep talking about this storm for a minute. What's FEMA going to do? Are they going to run down to Houston and snatch generators away from people that need them just so they can go make an appearance in Florida?
They're talking about these like FEMA shelters and everything, like those trailers they had after Katrina. They said there's going to be none of them for Florida. Houston's going to have them all, and they said basically Florida's going to be hung out to fucking dry, money wise, supply wise. Yeah, they're basically telling us people now, just like with Houston, with all the civilian rescuers there, they're telling people the same thing in Florida. Like, you all need to get together and raise money. And
they got 500,000 meals ready to go down in or 500,000 bottles of water and 300,000 meals ready to go down in Puerto Rico. I tweeted that out earlier today. FEMA's already on the ground in Puerto Rico, ready to help those folks out. Unreal, man. Sorry. That kind of shit just pisses me off, man.
It's unbelievable.
They're not even a state yet. They're just a territory. They're not even a state yet. Well,
that's what happens when states depend upon government now, upon the feds, and that's exactly what the feds want. They wanted every state to be able to depend on them in times of need, And states have become like that, and now they completely depend on the feds if a natural catastrophe hits their state, man.
They used to have all that stuff foreplanned for these kind of events, and like you just said, the government made it easier to depend on them, and now the government's bailing out, and that. How is that going to shine on 90% of the people in this country that have family or older relatives or whatnot are down there, and if they don't lose their lives, lose everything they have, and no way to get to them, you don't think that there will be an uprising in this country? I see it coming.
DK, I got to address something in the room. Hang on just a second. DK, I don't spout anything that I haven't read. I don't talk about any article that I haven't read. If you think I'm lying, go type it into Google and find it yourself. My name is not Alex Jones. I don't shoot shit out of my mouth. Everything that comes out of my mouth comes out of it for a reason. Go Google the fucking article and find out for yourself before you call me a liar.
I just got through sitting watching live coming from a stream, people in these areas. I just got sitting watching for about an hour and a half of the reality. And these people out here in this chat room are so damn lazy. They can't find this shit live and watch these people with their phones and their cameras streaming this shit live and know the reality. Get the fuck off the chat.
My name is not my name is not BP Earthwatch. My name is not Dumbo 7. Fuck. Whatever. If you don't like what I'm saying, dude, click the fucking X button.
We'll put the wrench on your ass and throw your ass out because we don't need your fucking kind of people, Now,
DK's been here for a while, man.
This is reality.
He's been here for a while. I'm challenging him. Go find the article. Go type it into your Google bar before you call me a liar.
See, that's the kind of people you have on the sideline. I think he's a fucking Puerto Rican.
Whatever.
Because Puerto Ricans like to start shit and then walk the fuck away. I know, I've been around enough of them. Are you a fucking Puerto Rican? Or are you a liar?
Sitting down there eating that FEMA meal, calling me a liar. All right. You want to keep going on the storm shit, man? I mean, it's going to be... We're going to be talking about it for weeks afterwards, like we're still talking about Harvey, right? I mean, it's just unbelievable. The water still hasn't gone down in Houston. There's parts of South Houston and Harris County and down by Galveston that are still 8 feet underwater, and it won't be gone for another 10 days.
Yeah, and have we got any real solid reports out of there? Has anybody been able to live stream out of those areas, or have they cut off all communication and cell phone operation?
I don't know. I mean, I've seen some videotape coming out of there, but people aren't able to live stream. There's still no, most of the places down there don't have power. They're still pulling people out of houses. It's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. And then you got guys like that fucking sheriff we talked about last week telling that guy in his swamp rig to get the hell out of his town because the thing's not insured. Insured for what? I'm going over the top of people's houses and cars and, what the fuck are you talking about, cop? What kind of damage can I do in my little swamp buggy that isn't already done? It's unbelievable, man. I hope that sheriff gets fired. I don't think he's the actual sheriff. I think he's just a lackey, sergeant, deputy. But I hope he gets fired for that shit. It's ridiculous. They're out there trying to save lives, and he wants to bust somebody's chops for insurance.
Well, you can bet there's going to be a lot of people that have already, if they haven't already gone to the Texas area for help and helping, are going to be headed to Florida because there is a lot of defenseless people down there.
Yeah.
And hey, let's be serious, guys. If you can't fucking take care of your elders, who in the fuck's going to take care of your dumb ass when you get old?
Well, the stories out of Houston, man, I know a couple people that went down there to help out, and deal is the government contractors down there, mercenary type guys the government's got down there trying to stop the civilians from help and trying to confiscate supplies. trying to prevent them from sticking their boats in and getting people out. And
you watch. They're going to start going through after these neighborhoods get dried out a little bit, after the water recedes. They're going to start going house to house and collecting shit from people's homes. You watch. The government's going to do it. They're going to go through and start grabbing up guns and ammunition and anything they can get their fucking hands on.
Clinton passed that law back in the fucking 80s because a militia out of Michigan here had a program on TV, local TV, telling about the contracts that he had drawn up for this shit. If you got too much supplies, too much anything, the government's got the right to confiscate it. They're talking about ammunition, guns, or anything. They have it all written.
There was a couple of videos I saw 2 or 3 days ago of people that were trying to go back into their neighborhoods when the water still hadn't gone down yet. You know, it was starting to recede, but it hadn't gone down all the way, and they were wanting to get in there and try to get stuff, and the cops wouldn't let them go back. So,
well, let me tell you, friends out there, we're not going to sit here and forget about Texas, because Texas ain't fucking out of the water yet. They're deep shit in the water, and they got a lot of fucking problems, and they still got to be thought about. I mean, we got shit coming, but we cannot forget others just to fucking pass the time. You know, that's not how it works in the real world.
Right. Yeah, I've seen the DK said they're about to get kicked out of Texas. I've seen quite a few posts telling the governor to get Red Cross out of there. You know, we don't need they're like, we don't need these kind of people around here. They're not trying to help anybody. They were trying to charge some of the people for their fucking meals. Oh God. Oh gee, hey, man, you know, you got to laugh it off. If you can't laugh it off, man, you're just gonna fucking explode. If I couldn't start laughing, and I haven't been laughing for a while, but I did for the last couple of days. I've been laughing at a lot of shit I see, dark shit, you know, and otherwise I would start coming undone, and I can't come undone. Not gonna let
either. That's why I've done a video. I've been out in the garage. I've been getting up in the morning and watching what's happening. And then I go out to the garage. I've been working on that little Sportster. Keep my mind off this shit, but it doesn't fucking go away because every time I think about the Texas, I get mad as hell.
Yeah.
I really do because my forefathers fought in that fucking war down there in the Alamo. And let me tell you, Texas belongs to all of us.
Yeah.
We let Texas fall. We're fucked.
I actually got my bicycle out today, my pedal bike, and got it cleaned up and shit. And I'm going to tighten everything up on, air the tires up, and I'm going to start riding a little bit of bicycle every day if I can get out. Even if it's just around the driveway. You know, my driveway is 300 yards, so I can do that.
Well, the gas has gone up here in town. And it seems to be continuing going up, and we don't know how much devastation this is going to cause on our ability to supply and demand. I guess I understood that they've already moved the Navy and a lot of things out of that area down there along the coast of Florida in preparation for this shit. So, you know, they've moved the fucking Navy out, man, and the Navy ain't going to stick around. So what the hell? I don't know.
Well, they do got 2 ships that are going to go that way. They were supposed to send them to Houston, and they turned them around and said, we want y'all to pull back, and as soon as Florida happens, we want you to head that way instead. 2 ships with combat marines on them.
It tells you in the Bible, a fool builds their house upon the sand.
Well, that's what I don't understand. You know, it's kind of like with Fukushima building reactors on a fault line. Why are you going to build a whole city like Miami right there? You know, I just don't get that. You know, 90% of Americans live on a coast.
If you look at our fucking reactors around here, almost every one of them sitting over a fault line too. Some of them are sitting over major fault lines.
Well, you talk about reactors. There's 2 of them just south of Miami. They're down to Home something, name of the city there, and that's where and their 2 are sitting there. You know, so if they get hit, man, those 2 reactors could be in danger.
Yeah. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff going on in Florida that's pretty bad. You know, I mean, they got some sinkhole problems that are just going to get exponentially worse after this hurricane goes through and that whole entire fucking state gets saturated. So there's that, and what they got a couple of places that are leaking some kind of radioactive fluid into some lakes or so. I can't remember what that was. And they got some mine problems. You know, there's a couple of places in the ground that are not supposed to be there, big holes in the ground that the mines left, you know, the mining industry left behind, and those things are going to fill up with water now and probably wind up collapsing. So they got major fucking problems after the hurricane's gone.
Well, I've got some personal feelings about Florida and Houston because I got a lot of friends in Houston. But my father's down there in Florida, right outside.
I used to live in both of those states.
I know if this comes up, I'm going to lose my father. He's almost 90 fucking years old. He's a World War II veteran. Served this country honorably, and you know, he's old. He lost his wife there, my mama. And he's not going to leave, you know, because that's just how he is. But there's a whole bunch of people like that, okay? And what we have to realize, we have to respect the fact that, you know, this is going to be the end for them, you know, and it's going to be a turn of the page, and we're going to lose a lot of old people. And is that what this? I still haven't figured out if this one's fucking man-made yet or not. I don't know. I haven't really followed that part of it because I really got pissed off at Harvey.
Yeah.
And I didn't follow that one. So, you know, I'm just going to leave Irma be and just, you know, what's going to be is going to be, guys. I'm serious.
I got to let my dogs out. I'll be right back.
Have you had cold weather up there, Dave?
Well, we've had some cool weather, but it's supposed to be getting back up in the 80s by this week. Yeah.
Shoot, man, we was like 50-some degrees today. I went out riding yesterday, day before. Man, I like to froze my ass off.
It got down to 39 this morning.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Now, I ain't looking to see that this soon already, but, you know, it could happen.
Usually by, you know, it depends. Some Septembers it starts getting cooler by the middle. Other Septembers it stays hot the whole month. But you can definitely count on by Halloween we've already got chances of snow up here, and you're already wearing your winter coat. That's always a given. By Halloween you've got your winter coat on already.
Well, I know it gets cold up there. I've seen the cold. I just never could get used to all the light. You know, it's like I had to put aluminum foil on the windows because I worked 8 hours, 10 hours a day, and hell, light seemed like for another 8 hours. You know, I said, man, how the hell am I going to go to sleep? So it took some adjusting to do that when we brought the B-1 bomber up there in Grand Forks. It was different.
See, that's the deal. You know they get their hurricanes, but we get things, you know, named blizzards up here that are just as fucking bad. You know, 40 below zero, 12-foot snow drifts, cars buried under 6 feet of snow.
They said that they've been naming storms since the 70s. Does anybody fucking remember them naming hurricanes? Or, I mean, they've always named hurricanes, but they said that they've been naming winter storms and shit like that since the 70s. Does anybody remember that? I don't ever remember them naming blizzards.
Yeah, that's bullshit. No.
Yeah, that's another one of them Mandela things, I think.
Yeah, they're naming blizzards now. Winter storms, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Winter storm, oh my God.
They started doing that a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing I can remember was a nor'easterner, you know, because that was the one that always came up the Atlantic and blew across the snow across the, New York area and stuff like that in Maine. But other than that, I cannot remember anybody calling a storm. You know, it just, no, I don't. A winter storm, no, I don't remember it.
Yeah, they just started naming winter storms a couple years ago.
They'd call it like the blizzard of '78 and shit. Like, I mean, you know, that kind of. They never had names like Harvey or, you know what I mean. They never. But they said they did.
I mean,
the National Weather Service said that they've been naming them since the '70s. I was like, I think they're fucking liars.
You know, you can get windy, too. I remember there's been some storms up here where we were snowed in for a week, man. I mean, you're talking 60, 70-mile-an-hour winds and driving sideways snow.
Oh, I remember blizzards down in fucking Illinois. Dude, I remember going trick-or-treating in the fucking snow. Getting snow as early as October.
Yeah, it happens here every so often. We'll get snow in October. Yeah. Last big storm we had up here in October, I think, though, was around 2001. We got like 15 inches of snow a couple days before Halloween, and then it melted shortly after, but it stayed cold out after that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was it 97. By the time winter was finished and done, we had up to 109, 110 inches of snow. We got that winter, set a record.
I remember snow and Easter too.
Oh
Back
yeah,
when I was a
it'll
kid.
snow up here. I've seen snow up here.
So-
I've seen snow flurries up here as late as at the beginning of June.
Yeah. So
Mm,
it's
my
not. I mean,
mother-
nothing's freakish. You just don't see it for about 20 or
My
30
mother-in-law
years.
said back in the 50s, she remembers a couple times they got snow almost on the 4th of July.
Yeah. See, so that's the weather goes in cycles, but we're seeing a very, very extreme cycle right now. And I've been saying it on a couple of posts, and you can agree with me or not, or you can shake your fucking head or whatever. But this is, it's my microphone. I paid for it. This is the cleansing of the earth that we're watching right now.
You're
I
the
firmly,
second one I heard it from.
I firmly
you are
believe
the
it.
second one I heard.
I firmly believe it. The finger of God is being dragged across the land, and we've already seen it in the oceans, right? And it tells us in the Bible that a third of the green grass and a third of the water and a third of the, of the airs, the third of the birds of the air. So, I mean, we're watching it happen right in front of our faces.
Has anybody took a calculation of how many nuclear power stations there is in Florida? We need to look that up because that is going to be a deciding point there. There is not one of them that will stand.
It doesn't
up
matter.
to
It doesn't matter. There's nothing they can do to shut them down now. It takes 10 days to shut a nuclear reactor down. There's nothing they can do. There's nothing, even if it does go critical, there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do. When it comes to nuclear power, it's completely beyond human control. If it gets out of control, there's nothing they can do. So at this point, it's just cross your fingers, As far as I'm concerned, they need to turn Florida into a giant glass battery. It gets struck by more lightning every year than any other place on Earth. And they could turn it into a huge glass battery and power this country forever.
It'd be a good place to go down and grab a suntan and turn around and leave. Population down there shouldn't be there. It should be turned back over to the critters. The critters are the only ones that got the right to survive there anyway.
That's one state I've never been to is Florida.
I've been to both. I've lived in both, Texas and Florida. I lived in Houston. I lived in Houston, and I lived in Weeki Wachee, which is just down there, by Tampa, St. Pete, just a little north of there.
I lived in Madeira Beach, and Clearwater, and I lived in Galveston, Texas, which is outside of Texas, right next to Texas, Galveston.
Mm-hmm.
They don't claim themselves to be in Texas.
Nope. There's water between us and that state.
They just came out now, the president of the Territorial Council, and said that 95% of St. Martin Island has been destroyed.
Yeah, there's a St. Martin and there's a San Martin. And then the Turks and Caicos are getting ready to get smashed too. And the British Virgin Islands, the American Virgin Islands, it's just going to, Haiti is getting ready to get hit hard. It's going to be awful. It's going to be awful.
I know what I was going to ask. Have we got a Twitter from Trump? Because he's got a lot of land and property down there. Has anybody seen any Twitters from Trump?
No, but he was in North Dakota today giving a speech.
He don't give a shit. He's got all
No,
kinds
he's too
of
busy
insurance.
talking about creating energy jobs in North Dakota after the oil boom already ended here.
Yeah. That and he's got his hand out for 2020. You guys know I'm going to run again in 2020, right? Give me some funny. Give me some money. Give me some funny. It's just a game to him. It's just a game to him.
Well, what did he say at that one shelter in Houston? I was watching it live, too. And he's telling her, he's sitting there, walks into the shelter, big shelter there, the big GRB,
where they were doing all the
Energy Center,
selfies?
whatever.
Where he
And
was standing
sits
there with all the
and he tells
refugees doing all
everybody
the
at the
selfies?
end, he tells everybody, have a good time.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Have a good time? He thought this was like some kind of party for him or something like this.
Have a good fucking time.
Yeah, that's what he said. Have a good time.
I don't have a change of clothes or underwear, but I'm going to have a fucking good time beating your ass, Trump.
And he's sitting there picking up all these black babies and kissing them and everything to make sure he didn't look like a racist. And
Taking selfies with everybody.
yeah, all these black kids and holding them up and kissing them. I'm like, dude, it's a fucking photo op, man. Don't give me this shit you care.
I'm worth $4 billion, but I gave you $1 million. I gave you $1 million.
Yeah, he told everybody right at the end, the press, and everybody there, looks like everybody's getting along. Have a good time, everyone.
Try not to get raped.
Just lost everything I got, but you're telling me to have a good time.
Enjoy them 2 slices of ham and cauliflower from the Red Cross.
Enjoy that spam sandwich.
Yeah. Sorry about there's no bread. I don't like spam.
You want $5 for that bologna sandwich with no bread, damn it.
Right. Is that mustard on there? No.
Got some breaking news that just came out. Israel just bombed Syria's technology chemical building in Hama, Syria just now.
How'd they get through the S-400s? I thought that Russia had the S-400s lit, and they were telling Israel and everybody to stay out of the skies.
Israel seems to get through them all every single time, don't they?
Wow. It's amazing. Oh, shit. All right, let's jump off of the hurricanes and do something else. Let's talk about Korea and China.
All right, let's talk about North Korea here. Now, this is what's happening, and I'm almost certain about this. I mean, I'm not no professional. I'm just an everyday person that follows this stuff, but this is what I'm certain of. It came out today where we drew up a draft resolution for the UN wanting to put a fuel embargo, an oil embargo, a travel embargo, economic embargo, everything on Kim Jong-un. Just say, and so we've been talking to China and Russia. Russia's against it, China's against it, and said we'll veto it. Don't even bring it up. And Haley's like, well, we're gonna do this. We're gonna vote on it. And they're like, well, we're just gonna veto it. And so now you've got reports, and these are all credible reports, that we've got 2,000 CIA, Secret Service, whoever, FBI, whatever, and they're getting ready to get 200,000 Americans out of there. They're over there right now. They've been over there for a while, and they've got the plan drawn up, and they're getting ready to pull all these people out. We just stuck 4 more.
Are they gonna grab all the Korean Americans and throw them in a concentration camp over here?
All right. We just put 4 more THAAD missile systems in. They got 6 altogether now.
The South Korean people were beating the shit out of the cops over that.
Oh, yeah. I watched that, dude. They were going ape shit. And they were chanting in Korean, "No war, USA," over and over and over. They know they're going to get fucking slaughtered over there.
Even if there's no nukes exchanged, Seoul is done.
Oh, yeah. And they know it. And, this Moon went from he went and talked to Putin. Was it today? Yeah, I think he was over there today.
And don't forget, they live on a peninsula, so there ain't nowhere for them to run.
No. And, Moon came out and says, I'd rather work with Putin on settling this situation than Trump.
Because Putin's been talking peace for 5 fucking years or more. From the time we stepped into Syria and started fucking with them people, Putin was like, what are you doing?
But, Moon and Abe of Japan just came out about 10 minutes ago and said they both agree they're going to push for new UNSC sanctions on North Korea, including cutting off oil supplies, even though Putin said he won't go for it, and neither will Xi Jinping. And so, this is the deal this is Trump, and Trump told them this is our last straw, Russia and China and South and Japan, telling Russia and China, if you don't vote to put these oil sanctions and oil embargo on North Korea, we're going to attack them. And this is where we're at. We've got the Ronald Reagan that's stationed in Japan that's heading there right now. We've got what they call a WASP combat group coming that way, amphibious groups that's heading that way now. The writing's on the wall. And after these 2 hurricanes and all the money and fires and all the money that we need to fix, war is the only answer.
Plus the $22 trillion we're already in debt, right? I mean, they just passed a aid package for Houston, $7.3 billion or something like that. Ugh.
It's too bad you can't play that tweet I sent you of that girl you said was hot, man. That video she put out was spot on.
I can play that. I can play that. Let me pull my Twitter up. All right, keep talking. Let me pull my Twitter up.
And the deal is Russia and China's not going to vote for these oil embargoes.
If you guys want to know who the hot chick is, her name's Anissa Nawi.
And so we're going to go to war. And this ain't over his nukes. This is over money. This is over money that America needs.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the whole game plan. In South Korea, the people of South Korea know what's fixing to happen. This is why they were out in mass all day today fucking protesting, because they know that America doesn't give a shit if they live or die, and we don't. We're thinking of ourselves.
This is about the end of the American dollar, and we already know that China is going to put the market on the money worldwide. So they're going to put a halt to this somehow. They are going to go to war. You're right, David. I see it.
Watch this video that Jimmy plays. I sent him today. This lady is spot on what's fixing to happen.
Yep. Hang on a second.
It's spot on. And you're exactly right, too, Vaughn.
I'm getting it to come up. Just a minute. Give me a minute. I gotta get the tweet pulled up, and then I gotta get.
This ain't over nuclear weapons or missile launches. And talk about missile launches. They said he's going to launch a missile on September 9th. It's their founding day, or like their 4th of July day.
Right.
They're going to launch an ICBM, and they're going to launch it from their west coast, and so it's going to be interesting. But this war is coming. We're not stopping it, and
no.
And it's going to be catastrophic, not just for that part of the world, but for the whole world in general. A lot of people are going to die, man.
Right.
And this could go nuclear. Because you drag in Russia and China, this very well could go nuclear. People, we talk about the Middle East and everything else being a starting point for a massive global war. North Korea has always been the number one spot to get a massive global war going.
All right, I got you pulled up.
All right.
Whoa! Two freaks with crazy hair are about to start World War III.
Dangerous face-off between the North and the world.
The brink of nuclear war.
The tension meter has definitely been turned up to 11. Don't even look at it.
Sounds hot. Don't even look at it. But war is never fun. The last thing we need are missiles flying across continents in a geopolitical catastrophe. So what gives? Why is America doing everything right so this exact scenario plays out? North Korea is provoking the U.S., flexing their muscles and flashing their biggest missiles yet. Why? Why would they do something so defiant and aggressive?
Yeah, they certainly don't like those B-1s, B-2s, B-52 U.S. bombers flying from Guam over the Korean peninsula. That really irritates them, as we now see.
Lance's hero.
Yeah, that's exactly it. A perfect storm for war is playing out in the perfect place at the perfect time.
The time for half measures in the Security Council is over. Kim Jong-un's action cannot be seen as defensive. He is begging for war.
The diplomats are ready. Defense is even more ready.
We are not looking to the total annihilation of a country, namely North Korea. But as I said, we have many options to do so.
How kind. Not complete annihilation yet, just setting the tone for slight annihilation. And then these guys are always ready for the U.S. to be attacked.
North Korea fires yet another missile, but Pyongyang claims this one will be able to hit the U.S. mainland, striking cities like Los Angeles, Denver, Chicago, and possibly even New York and Boston.
I don't want to be alarmist, but we're all going to die.
The U.S. is the victim here. Got it? The pundits say, let's fight. We need to destroy North Korea before it's too late. One alternative, missiles. Sanctions don't work. Even though South Korea, who is way closer to North Korea, like used to be the same country close, like this is the reason we're even talking about this close. They have a new strategy and want to try and talk through this crisis. In other words, avoid war. But nope, this guy knows the art of the deal and says, nope, talking is not the answer. Tweeting is the answer. Tweeting about stopping trade with any country that does business in North Korea, that's a great idea. Start a trade war with China on top of the real war you're brewing. And if that's not working because it's insane, bring in the old guns. Maybe someone who's already laid the ground for war, say Iraq, 2003. Perfect, yes! Condoleezza Rice. She's got this in the bag, Dad. WMDs are now IBCMs, my friends. The warmongers are back. Neocons, analysts, all backed up by the mainstream media to present arguments for why the U.S. needs war. And if no war, then to be ready for someone to start a war with the U.S. This is why Trump is cheered even by some of his biggest media enemies when he talks war. All of this confusion, hype, and hysteria to distract us from one solid, strong, and supported fact. America wants war, because war makes money. Not for protection, freedom, democracy, liberty,
Oil.
safety, and so on. Just good, hard, solid cash.
Spot on. Spot on.
Well, she is, man.
Yep. She's a very astute young lady. She's been putting posts up like that for a long time. Oh, look. There's Janice's post from Facebook. Let me scroll down here and see what's going on here. This is some of the video coming out of the islands. Just listen to the wind. Look at that. That is unbelievable. Unreal, man. Unbelievable. Just, I can't even. Oh, man. Oh, God, that looks delicious.
Well, you got to look at this hurricane as a prelude to what war is going to look like, friends.
Yeah. Oh, my God. That guy just got smashed by his own truck.
Because when they start nuking this fucking country, you're going to see shit and devastation that you ain't never heard of. Those who've never been in that.
The government's not going to be there to take care of you either. They'll take care of you all right, throw you in a FEMA camp, and that'll be it. Maybe the ovens next.
Anybody that can't see that video that I'm showing right now, it's I just posted it on my Facebook wall. If you can get over there, this cat's trying to push on his truck to keep it from blowing over in the winds, and it flips over on top of him and smashes him. Oh my God!
That's crazy, man. Whoa!
Unreal. Then I got people posting useless shit, like always, on Facebook, full of useless shit. It's a good thing Lance isn't watching. He'd probably be throwing up right now. Fuck Facebook.
Where's he at tonight?
Yeah, he couldn't get on. He couldn't get his Skype to stay open on his phone. It kept shutting off on him every time he tried to connect, so he gave up. He's got to get up he's got to be on the road at 3 o'clock in the morning, so I don't blame him. Okay. Fuck Facebook. Oh boy, look at the chat scroll by. Let me go over here to my OBS and click out of that before something backs up on me. Hello. It's my ugly mug back again. Okay, on with the show. What do you want to talk about now?
They're saying that Israel launched 3 airstrikes on that place tonight.
I can't believe they got across the border. I thought that the S-400s were lit and hot and...
You know, Putin's had them there for how many years? A couple years now. I don't think he's used them once.
Well, yeah, but I thought that they received a warning from Russia not to cross.
They've received several warnings. They always seem to get away with it.
Well, I think he's got his eye on North Korea more than he does Syria right now.
Well, they're trying to kick a war up any direction. You know, Israel is having a major drill, biggest drill they've had in over 20 years. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers, airmen, you name it, everybody on the northern border preparing for a war with Iran and Hezbollah, because Iran and Hezbollah has been making their way through Iraq, through Syria, and now they're making their way toward the Golan Heights. And, you know, Israel won't have that. No matter how anybody feels about Israel, Israel won't have that, man. That's always been their red line, having Iran on their fucking border, man. And it's not going to happen, and Israel will throw down when it comes to that. And Netanyahu told Putin that the other day. He said, dude, you know, you told us you were going to keep him back, and you're not doing it. You know, we want to be friends with you, but we don't want Iran on our border or Hezbollah. You know, we want to keep Hezbollah down toward Lebanon where they're at, and keep this, you know, where it is. And this is going to go to blows there, too, between Israel and Iran. Iran announced today they're closing airspace to all Saudi and U.S. aircraft because Saudi's fixing to make some kind of major announcement here in the next day or two, and they won't say what. But Iran announced tonight no military, no civilian, no nothing will be allowed to fly around Iran's airspace.
Iran will wipe Israel off the fucking map. There ain't enough of those fucking little Israelites, other than their nuclear weapons, as a threat.
Well, that's what Israel would use. Is nukes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They wouldn't hesitate 1 second.
And it
Israel
doesn't
would
matter.
just nuke them.
Yeah.
There's too many fucking Muslims. The fucking ragheads will fucking swipe the fucking Israel fucking ass.
I don't know. I mean, if you get into the Bible, it says right in there, Israel will survive all this in the end.
The real Israel.
The real
the second coming. The
I'm not
second
talking about the. I'm not talking about the. What do you call it?
It also says you're talking about the second coming of Jerusalem. It also says in the Bible that when this Arab-Israeli war starts, for real, that all true Israelis are to run for the hills. Now, there's not Israelis, Israelites. There's a difference between an Israeli and an Israelite.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
So, everyone from the synagogue of Satan is going to die.
I'm not talking about the Zionists.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the Israelites.
Right. The true Israel, we're not going to get into a big theological discussion right now.
No,
so.
I understand what you're saying, but I mean, when it comes to Israel and Iran, Israel just fucking nuke them and be done with it.
It tells you also in the Bible that anyone that outwardly claims to be a Jew is of the synagogue of Satan. A true Jew it's in your heart. It's not in your spoken word. You act like a Jew. You act like Christ. You come from a Christ-like consciousness. You don't have to go around going, I'm a Jew. Anyway. People are going to call me a fucking anti-Semite for saying that bullshit too, but it's the truth, man. Whether you want to believe it or not, the truth doesn't care.
I am an anti-Semitist, or whatever the hell you want to call it. Anybody that's running the bank and taking my money and taxing and giving me phony money to spend, I'm against that. Yeah, 100%.
Well, not every banker's a Jew, so there is that too. The synagogue of Satan is not all just Jewish. It goes back to the Christian church, or not to the Catholic Church, to the Jesuits, your history can't end in Israel. If it does, it's wrong, because they're not in control. They're doing what they're told to.
I mean, we've got all these hurricanes and all this problem going on in this country, and all the housing and everything else is going down, because now they got all these houses to build. What was 100,000 homes got to be rebuilt in Houston? Why would we go to war? Well, we need more chaos. That's exactly what we mean. Welcome to Satan's paradise.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I don't want to get into a big theological discussion. So,
the way I look at this, I know weather's cyclonic and stuff and shit's getting, but if you get into the Bible, and it says right there, and I really believe, and this is just me, that this eclipse did herald some bad shit in, and it says, look into the heavens for the signs, and I believe that eclipse, when it went from the West Coast to the East Coast, that was the sign saying, America, you're fixing to face judgment for kicking God out of the nation. We kicked God out, and I firmly believe that we kicked him out, and we're going to pay for that.
You're right, Dave. You're right on spot.
We kicked God out of this nation, and now we're going to pay the penance for it.
He said he will not destroy the world with water again, but he did not say he wouldn't take a little water and cleanse the earth of bullshit.
That's right.
You're looking wars, rumors of wars, pestilence, all that shit is happening. If people really look, and you can say, oh, it's always been going on. No, and who knows? Maybe the Mayans, when it came to 2012 and nothing happened, maybe the Mayans were a couple years off.
No. That's the people that tried to pull that calendar out to say that it was a tick-tock to the end of the world. The Mayan calendar signaled the change.
Yeah, the change. They never said it was going to be the end of the world.
No, it was the beginning of the end.
plus we're still in the year after the Shemitah, which Jonathan Kahn talked about. We're still in the Jubilee.
Yep.
And that was
For
supposed to be a
several
real
more
rough
months.
fucking patch.
Yep, for several more months.
I still say that flare was magical. Okay, there was something magical about it because I felt like I was in a haze. When I was standing out there watching that sun flare, I knew something wasn't right. I could just tell it around me. I could tell the way people were acting. They're like they were going into a daze, if that makes any sense. So,
Well, that's it. With that eclipse, everybody was just in a daze, staring at the sun, man. And
staring at those-
basically, there was some energy coming down saying,
They were
"All
staring
right."
at all those chemtrails that were in the sky, and nobody said a fucking word about them. They were staring right through all those chemtrails because there was spots of this plate that they were painting the fuck out of the sky that day, and nobody said a word about it. They were all just, oh, look at how pretty the sun is. Oh, nobody said shit about the chemtrails.
I just believe that eclipse that was a sign that something
It
bad
wasn't.
was
It wasn't the
coming to this
moon.
nation.
It wasn't the moon that went in front of it. Whatever it wasn't the moon that went in front of it. I can promise you that.
well, I can tell you 2 nights ago, there was a storm that come through here. And I've been and listened to a lot of thunderstorms, but this one here was so deep, it rattled the earth around us. I mean, it was unbelievable. And the water had dropped, and then it was gone. And then it calmed. And the next minute, here it comes again. And it was even worse. And everybody I talked to said, man, I have never been in a thunderstorm like that, as loud and as deep as sound it was.
Yeah, we've had a couple through here that way this year too. The thunder just rolled and it was so deep it shook everything in the house.
Hey, this just came out
cloud
just
the ground. Go ahead.
It's just on Florida. It says all hospitals in Florida Keys will close by 7 a.m. Friday.
Yeah,
Trauma Star Air Ambulance ceasing operations on Friday at 7 a.m.
There's not going to be any 911 to call. There's not going to be any 911 to call. They are all getting the fuck out of there because they know that this is biblical.
Yeah, this is going to be bad, man. They're taking this. Like I said, this is a special type of hurricane that we haven't ever seen before. That we haven't seen, at least.
It's the largest on record in the open Atlantic.
Plus, it's been a category 185 winds for like 36 hours. They said.
Yep.
That broke a record.
And like you said right off the top of the show, it's supposed to go sub 900 barometric pressure.
Well, let's just look at it this way. There's a time and place where everybody has to grow up and realize there's a God.
It's
Get on your
10 o'clock.
knees and realize, friends, that you need to repent because what is coming ain't going to stop coming. It's going to keep coming. We're just getting a taste of it right now. This is an awakening call.
Well, what did God say? When the time comes, when you look up in the skies, and grown men are going to shit their pants.
They're going to pray for death, and death will flee them.
Yep.
And every knee will hit the ground, and every tongue will speak his name.
I think we're getting close to those times, man. We've had war in this world, don't get me wrong, but the different fronts that we've got setting up right now, we haven't seen since World War II.
Right.
I mean, we've got fronts. You've got this big exercise with Russia and Belarus, the POD 2017, that's fixing to go down here in the next 2 weeks. And NATO's been building up for that for the last year.
But
I know you've been watching that, Jimmy, and they've been sending massive troops to the Baltics. And Russia's sending all their troops that way. And I'm telling you, something's going to go down with this, man. NATO's going to do something to bring on this war with Russia with this.
In the next 5 days, there's going to be Americans dying because of this hurricane. There's still Americans dying because of what happened to Harvey. Mm-hmm. And yet the government is going to keep spending money, deploying ships, and firing off missiles, and flexing their muscle instead of helping Americans.
Well, I think Harvey, and I think this storm too was HAARP generated, and I think they did it for this exact reason, for a distraction. While where everybody's looking at all these hurricanes hitting us over here, and we're going back and forth between this place and this place with these storms and the fires out west, they can start these wars because everybody's distracted by these fucking storms, and very well we should be. And that's the perfect setup for our government to start a war, for the elite to start a world war. It's the perfect setup.
I don't think that they're generated. I think that they enhance them once they're already formed.
Yeah, I don't think we started them, but I think once we shot extra juice into them to make them where they're at.
I'm pretty firm on that one. Yep. And I'm pretty sure that they can steer them. They can create high pressure and low pressure and put them in different spots to steer the storm. And yep.
You know, and so I think that this is the perfect. While we're looking at these hurricanes, like I said, we very well should be. This is the perfect chance for the government and the elite to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
But we need to be looking for blue hats and UN trucks here real soon. Serious about that.
They better not.
They take control of the population.
They're already here, man. They're just ready to go.
They better not show up anywhere around here. I didn't see any pictures or anything, but I saw some posts on Facebook and some different stuff that a couple of those ducks that were running into the battle of the floodwaters and stuff down in Houston, or not in Houston, but over in Port Arthur and Beaumont, when those water craft from the military went in there, that some of those were being operated by UN troops. Now, I don't know if it was Americans wearing UN hats and patches, but, you know.
Well, I still believe that.
I didn't see any pictures, though. It was still just rumor.
What was that fucking drill everybody was talking about a couple years ago?
Jade Helm.
I think this fits right into it. They were practicing for this scenario coming up.
Well, 2 days after the eclipse, they started Operation Dark Sky that's going to run for 23 months. 23 consecutive months of a drill.
I haven't heard about the Dark Sky. I'm going to have to look that one up. Thanks, Jim. I need to check into that one.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, man, since the eclipse happened, from the day of the eclipse, it's like the chemtrailing has been off the fucking hook in certain spots of the country. I mean, there's certain spots that they're not touching at all, for days at a time. Occasionally, they don't touch us for a couple of days. But when they do, man, oh man, is it heavy.
Well, I've seen that, and I've seen black helicopters, and I couldn't really put together what the hell the black helicopters were. But now I didn't know about this dark sky, so this tells me that they've already started surveillance, because these were flying low. And I kept waving at them to see if I could get their fucking attention, but they weren't paying me no attention.
No, they already took your picture.
I smiled real well, though.
Yeah, I'd turn around and show them the crack of my ass. What's up, fellas?
This just came out. United States USFK deputy chief says North Korea's recent nuclear missile tests have been a slap in the face for us.
It's a prick-waving dick fight. That's all it is.
I don't think the thing is prick-wave. I think we're getting ready to fucking start dropping bombs on them.
It's not like nothing is going to happen until we do it. I'm promising you. The Chinese are right in Kim's ear, telling him, "Don't fall for this shit, dude. Don't." I mean, if you want to shoot a missile,
I think it's
go
just
ahead, shoot missiles off.
We're just going to do it.
Fuck with them all you want to. Set off a nuke. Tell them it's a hydrogen bomb. Do whatever you want to do. But don't kill anybody.
I think we're going to start it no matter what, man. I think Syria didn't work out because of Russia coming in, and now we're like, fuck it. We don't give a shit who comes in. We're doing this.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. He's all puff so far. He's all Twitter so far. That's all it is, just a bunch of Twitter puff.
Like I said, if the UN don't pass this oil embargo, I think we will. I think that this was our last of it, just saying, if you don't...
They don't buy any oil from us anyway, so who gives a fuck?
Well,
right?
We're trying to make it out that it's a big deal,
Oh, well, okay. You want to know what else is a big deal? Go ahead, keep talking. I'm going to pull up a couple of articles here that I...
No, what I'm saying is,
go ahead.
They're saying that we're trying to get rid of his oil so he won't have enough to do any more tests.
Well...
is what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure he can't get any more oil from China or whoever he gets it from, so he can't do any more tests.
But then there's this, man. China has announced a new world order for world oil markets that could have profound effects on the global economic industries and the monetary order itself. They are issuing a gold-backed yuan, oil-based yuan, a gold-backed oil-based yuan. And anybody that's in the BRICS nations can pick up on this new gold-backed oil-based yuan and go around the United States' petrodollar.
And that's just why we're going to war. This is
this is China.
Reasons.
This is China doing this, man.
And that's what I'm saying. This is why we're ready to go have a war with China, a war with Russia because of this BRICS.
Well, if anybody listening to the sound of my voice thinks that the United States or any of its allies added together can go up against Russia and China, they are sadly mistaken.
Well, I don't think we're going to win. I don't believe we think we're going to win.
Well, you don't go to war unless you think you're going to win.
You know, we're going to go out in a blaze of glory, I guess.
Well, yeah, but you don't go to war unless you think you're going to win.
Glory is right.
You know, I don't think they care anymore. They've sucked every cent they can out of this country. It's finished with us economically. $20 trillion in debt,
except for the
hurricanes to pay for.
Except for all these
done economically.
Crypto knuckleheads, they're still drawing money out of them like stupids.
You know, they're done. The bank is run dry over here, and the elite are shifting to the BRICS. I mean, the IMF a year ago came out, or even less than a year ago, says that we support the BRICS.
Been dry. How long we been in quantitative easing, man? For 5.5 years, 6 years? No, it was way before Syria started.
And then the IMF announced they were relocating to Beijing on top of it.
Yep.
So they're finished with this country, and they're gonna put the nail in the coffin, literally, with us. This is why I'm looking at this war, man, because this is what they're going to do. They're like, fuck it, this country, let's just pound America to the fucking ground.
And I fully think that they wanted a far larger body count out of Harvey than they got. I think that the people that were steering that storm around in a circle, dumping all that fucking copious rain on them, I think they wanted bodies floating in the streets. They wanted it to be 10 times what Katrina was, but it wasn't.
You know, they're trying to get race riots going over here, over Confederate statues. They're trying everything, man.
So now,
and shit just isn't working. So the very last thing to do is just fuck it, take us to war and let China and Russia finish us off.
So now they're going to steer. They're going to steer another hurricane up through the center of Florida and try to drown all the old people.
I was going to tell you, this just came out. This came out from the NHC director, whatever that stands for, the National Hurricane Center director. That's what he says just now, and I quote him. He says, if this hits South Florida, this is going to be a once-in-a-generation event, the big one for us.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Got a whole generation.
A generation's only
gone.
A generation's only 20 years. So thanks, Captain Obvious.
And he said, this is going to be the big one.
Yeah.
Well, you figure with all this, the desperation in this country, they're going to be willing to go to war. They're going to call for it.
Yeah.
They're going to be up there. Trump, please, let's go to war. We got this.
You know, the military-industrial complex is going to make money. I mean, America was founded off of war, and that's what keeps our economy going is war. And we haven't had a real war since when? I mean, yeah, we've been in Afghanistan for 15, 17 years. That hasn't generated. That's helped the drug market with all the poppy going out. Iraq, you know, we didn't ever get the oil out of there, but it never happened. And so, you know, they need a huge war. They tried Syria, and that didn't work for them for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because of Russia jumped in or they decided the last minute that Syria wasn't going to be able to kick it off for them. And so now they've got North Korea. And now you've got Iran, too. You got Trump coming out saying that Iran's not living up to this nuclear agreement, which the nuclear watchdog came out today and said, yeah, Iran is living up to it.
John just put in the room, Irma has snapped all the cell towers on Barbuda, and those are steel reinforced cell towers. You know, at 185 miles an hour, I don't give a shit what it's made of. It's going down.
Yeah, they showed that on TV. They were all snapped.
And then it said that Barbuda is uninhabitable, practically uninhabitable, said Prime Minister Gaston Brown.
Well, Governor Scott said they're going to load up everybody, homeless and everybody, on buses and try to get them out of there tomorrow. It's mandatory to get off the coast of Miami. Mandatory.
I put that link in the room that just came out, the new image of this hurricane. You should look at that link, man. This hurricane is something I've never seen before in my 51 years. This thing is like the perfect storm.
Quick, somebody Google how many homeless are in Florida. Quick, somebody Google that really quick in the room and type that into chat. I want to know how many homeless, just a guesstimate, How many homeless there are in Florida? Because I think whatever the fuck his name is just stuck his foot so far in his mouth, man. He's playing tonsil hockey with his toes. You're going to bus all the homeless out. Give me a motherfucking break, dude. There aren't enough buses in Florida to fit all the homeless on.
I'm trying to figure out how they're going to get all the tourists and all the people that live on the fucking coast. I mean, we're fucking 100,000 plus. How many fucking buses are they coming in with?
Kevin Allen, if you're listening to my voice right now, leave your boat, get out of Florida. You're going to lose it anyway. It's there. You can't ride this thing out, dude. You just cannot do it, and you're not going to be able to scoot that little boat far enough away to get out of the way. So
hell no, I thought about that too with him, man.
Get out of Florida, man. You're going to
Brendan
lose.
says it's 1,000 living on the streets right there in Miami, and women and children right now in Miami on the coast.
Do what now?
Miami homeless is thousands of them living, women and children and men living homeless on the streets of Miami right now.
Yeah, Mr. AK says 43,000 homeless in Florida. That's an estimate. 43,000 homeless. That'd be like trying to put everybody in 2 towns on a bus. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. He's just talking. He's talking to hear himself talk. That's all these fucking politicians do. That's why they call them talking heads, just like the broadcasters on TV news, right? They're just a bunch of people that like to hear themselves talk.
Well, you could tell he had his damn Navy hat on. I'm sorry, I don't mean nothing, David, but he had his Navy hat on talking this shit, and I'm thinking, yeah, right, you're going to get all these people out in tomorrow by bus. Sure you are. You might get a few people out.
Why don't you call the Navy and have them put them on boats and get them out? Why don't you call the Air Force and, since they're evacuating all their planes and shit, why don't you have them load all these homeless people on those C-130s that they're getting the fuck out of there? Why don't you call Pensacola Naval Air Station and have them do their job as public servants and come help the people that need help?
No, they're going to drive them right up through the center of fucking Florida, so they're right in the middle of the fucking storm, and they get blown away in the fucking buses. That's exactly what they're going to fucking do. And that's exactly what's going to fucking happen.
I'm going to tell you what, man, if people don't get a 2 steps ahead right now, there are going to be people drowning in their cars on the freeways if they're jammed full of traffic. The highways, the interstates should already be closed southbound and only open for northbound traffic. If anybody needs to come south, they can get on the secondary highways and come south. All the interstate traffic should be northbound only now, right now.
Hey, Lori, is there any gas left to be bought down there?
Not much.
I just saw a post that said everything in Broward County and Miami-Dade, all the gas stations are empty. Somebody just posted that in the room just a little bit ago. So, what's up, Lori? You got a lot of background noise going on over there. Were you having a party?
I couldn't get volume. I wasn't sure, so I just had to unhook everything, and I'm good now.
Yeah, you
so I don't know what happened.
Cool.
I still have background noise?
No, you're good.
Okay.
So what do you got, 80 days in a wake up? 80 days in a wake up, is that right?
Yeah, I'm excited.
You keep doing your countdown.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
Yep.
So let's get your opinion on Hurricane Irma.
I think I've made my opinion on her quite clear.
She's a fickle bitch. Doesn't know whether she wants to go west. Doesn't know whether she wants to go east. Doesn't know,
All of us warrior goddesses are like that, though. Right.
So, elaborate. Have you got friends in Florida now?
Oh hell yeah!
Do you?
Lots of them.
What's going on? What are they scatting at you about?
Well, scatting at me about. They know what to do.
Scatting.
I've double checked with them.
Scatting.
And made sure that
shit. They're gonna stay.
Some of them don't have a choice. Some of them it's because of jobs, because they're in the medical field.
What? We just read things that said all the hospitals are going to be closed.
No, they're not.
No,
they're not.
Just in Key West, they announced that
Yeah.
tonight.
Oh,
The VA hospital in Miami is going to be open, and I know somebody that lives right across the street from it. She's a nurse. She is required to be there. You got military personnel that have to be there.
Sacrifices. The Navy's
Yeah,
pulling out
pretty much.
5,000 people.
I know. I saw it.
yeah.
Not essentials.
Well, my
Secretaries and shit.
My scooter friends are all in panic because, see, they live in a different world environment. And for them to leave, they're going to be leaving on the Harleys. And I don't believe they can get out of there. I just don't believe it. So I think they're going to hunker down and fight it out.
Well, if it gets any closer, what's today? Wednesday? I wouldn't want to be on the road after tomorrow.
Look, man.
And
I'm sorry.
You
go
can
ahead.
still get out using back roads. Stay off of fucking 75 and, all the normal tourist trap places. But I heard you say, and you were quite correct, Jimmy, every freeway that's out of there should be heading north.
Yeah, they
Heading
ought to have
north,
all the
both sides of
southbound,
the lanes.
all the southbounds ought to be shut and let northbound traffic only.
I know
Here's
that
something
Atlanta
else.
at
And
the...
I talked about this last week, I think, or I posted about it on Facebook or on Twitter or something. I can't remember. It's been several days ago. The highest point in Florida is 56 feet above sea level.
I've been there.
The highest point in Florida is 56 feet above sea level. The estimated eye wall wave heights of a Category 5 hurricane are 50 feet. Do the math, everybody.
It'll be like a tsunami coming across Florida, the peninsula, and everything will be floating around like ducks.
Now that's not storm surge, okay? Don't get me wrong. They're estimating that the storm surge is only going to be like 27 feet. I'm talking about the wave heights at the eye wall. The estimated wave heights at the eye wall. Now, if this eye skirts up the coast of Florida, just offshore, what are you going to catch? What's the coast of Florida going to catch? Eye wall waves. If it goes up through the center of Florida, the entire southern tip is going to be under fucking water.
Mm-hmm. Now, granted, a lot of that's swamp anyways, but still. All the toll roads have been suspended, so you don't have to worry about paying tolls.
No.
I know in Atlanta they were
Just
talking
get
about
the
they
fuck
opened
out.
up the stadiums and the campgrounds for people to get on up there. The problem is, and I haven't checked because I just walked in, the last I heard this thing was going to hit South Florida and turn back into a 5. It's supposed to go down to a 4. Like, that's a whole lot of difference. But then skirt eye wall up the east coast of the United States.
Yeah.
Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina have already declared state of emergency. So, I mean...
Lance, I don't know if you're in bed yet or not, but if you're still listening, brother, I mean, we were talking about it when they first talked about it coming up the East Coast a week and a half ago. And then everything looked like it was shifting over to the west, but not any longer, brother. And you're going to be on the dirty side of that storm for quite a while. I'm just saying, man, God... I said it earlier today, too. Everybody needs to send prayers toward the Leeward Islands because we're getting ready to find out what this is about. And we found out what it was about. You guys just saw a little snippet of the videos that are coming out of there. It's devastating. It's devastating. Catastrophic.
Those poor people standing there don't have nothing but the clothes on their back. Nothing. No food, no nothing. It's all gone.
So, I'm saying it again for the cheap seats. If you are anywhere in the path of this storm, get out.
Like I said, there's some people that just can't. They don't have the money.
I don't, whatever. Money,
They don't
fuck
have the
money.
transportation.
Whatever. You make all the excuses that you want to make. I don't, if
I'm
I had
just saying.
to walk, I would start walking you have 5 days to get the fuck out of the way of this storm. You have 5 days. You've been warned.
How many single moms are down there with kids that have nothing? Do you know how many people I've talked to that didn't even know about it?
Yeah, there was a lot of people in Katrina that lived down around Algiers that wanted to claim that shit too. Whatever. You've had days You have 5 days from the sound of my voice to get out of the way of this storm. You've been warned. That's all I'm saying.
At the magnitude of this storm, it's already too late.
I don't think you're going to have 5 days. This thing is going to get. You watch tomorrow how fast it's moving and how low it is. I think it's going to.
They're talking
on Florida faster than they say.
They're talking about hurricane force winds are going to start in the Keys Friday night. Hurricane force winds are going to start in the Keys Friday night. That's 75 miles an hour plus. So tomorrow they're going to start seeing bands of the other shit tomorrow. You know, tropical storm warnings are up all the way to D.C. I think one of the maps. I think they saw I saw tropical storm warnings all the way to D.C. So,
well, they were telling my friend down there, Kenny. He said that the storm itself is 500 miles wide.
Bigger than the state of Ohio.
Dave just said it looks like a perfect storm. It is completely
it's
symmetrical.
A beautiful one.
It's
as
completely
as
symmetrical.
Sounds,
yeah.
Because we know people are going to die, but this is one fucking beautiful storm. I mean, it's just perfect.
Well, like I was talking about earlier, if you watch the infrared shots, the continuous infrared loop, and you watch one of those eye wall changes, you can see multiple cyclones inside the eye wall itself as it changes eye walls. It's amazing. It's some of the shots that they're getting, however they're getting them, it's just amazing.
Well, yeah, it's even firing off pink color in the middle there. It's so cold of clouds at the top. It's even pink colors you don't ever see hardly.
Yep. So this is a once in a lifetime event right here, I think, because.
Well, for some people it will be. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I full on believe, and I'm going to say it again for the umpteenth time, man. I full on believe that we are in the end times, man. We are seeing things never before seen on Earth, and this is one of them. This is the largest Atlantic hurricane on record.
Here. I believe this 100%, Jim. You're right on, spot on.
And how many times?
Yep.
How many times over the last couple of years have we talked about stories that were the largest ever recorded? The largest ever recorded. You know? How many times have we said that? How many stories? Just Google that phrase and look at how many stories started with that over the last 18 months. John said textbook storm. Yeah. I don't think there's going to be, you know, those guys that flew that fucking C-130 through the center of that son of a bitch, man. Did you guys see the video footage of that? The rain going by, and it got so strong you couldn't even see the props on the wings.
Right. At 11 o'clock, they're going to release the new information on that, what he was saying. That they should be released at 11 o'clock.
Those guys that are flying those C-130s, now, I know that some of them are being accused of seeding the storms and stuff in advance or whatever, but the eye wall, the hurricane punchers, the guys that get the video from inside, they're crazy. They're crazy.
Oh yeah, you got to be an adrenaline junkie to do that job.
That plane can't even fly 200 miles an hour. A C-130 can't even fly 200 miles an hour. I have no idea how they're going through the eye wall like that.
Well, they just send down into it and then do what they need and just send back up. It'd be the only way. They have to flow with the eye, but, you know, it's moving, 14, 15 miles an hour right now.
Yep.
So they can actually drop and descend into the 15-mile radius of the storm, the center, and do their electronic stuff and then move back straight up out of it. That's some tricky ass flying, and no, I'm not getting on that ride.
Yeah. John said we need a Cat 6. We talked about that earlier. You know, I mean, if you're going to talk about strictly wind speeds, then yeah, I imagine we could give it a Category 6 because anything over 157 miles an hour is a Cat 5. And, you know, if you're talking, I mean, they've registered some winds in Barbuda today at 216 miles an hour. Yikes. So, yeah, I mean, we could give it a Cat 6 rating as far as that goes, but damage-wise, it's just catastrophic. Even a Category 4 is just catastrophic damage because almost nothing. I mean, it sweeps houses off their fucking foundations like a tornado, like an EF5, right?
Well, it took that cell tower down like it was a toothpick.
Well, yeah, they showed what Cat 5 winds can do today. I was watching this one. I think it was on the Weather Channel. They showed how they can drive a 2x4 right through a cinder block wall.
Oh, yeah.
They said that a lot of your houses now in Florida, because of these new codes ever since Andrew, that have brick walls, they have to have a thin piece of steel behind the brick before they put in the sheetrock.
We got 5 days. 5 days for it to hit New York City.
Yeah, I guess my 5-day forecast was, well, I don't know, the wind speeds and stuff. No, it's going to still be in Florida in 5 days.
Yeah, but what's going to keep it from going through Florida, jump back into the Gulf, because the waters there are about 87 degrees and go right up the fucking coast, right into fucking New York.
Well, they're saying, I mean, all the model projections that I saw on AccuWeather earlier tonight, probably I'm talking like 6-ish something, showed that the eye was going to stay in the Atlantic all the way up the side of Florida. So it's not going to lose any strength. Right? I mean, it's going to drop down to like a Category 3 by the time it reaches the north side of Florida, but still, you're talking Cat 3 winds are in excess of 130 miles an hour.
Well, they said that once it made landfall, like on the South Carolina-Georgia border, it was going to shoot straight up then, and they get caught in a trough coming down, and it was going to carry it out of the top of the United States. This trough was going to suck it up. This is why once it makes its northern turn, it's going to go a lot faster than what do they usually do, because this trough is going to suck it straight up through the Georgia and South Carolina, through the continental United States, and then out the top.
Yeah, and then Vaughn said that that's going to grab Katia and bring her across the Gulf into Florida.
Well, what I think is that Katia is going to come close to the islands that just got hit, but by the time it gets toward us, it's going to turn north into the sea. This trough is going to it's turning it north once it gets to a certain point.
That's Jose. Katia is the one.
Well,
that's
they said Jose's going to go west into Mexico. They've already got hurricane.
That's Katia.
Yeah, that one, that Katia. No, they said that one's going to go. It's heading west for Mexico.
Yeah, that's what I saw too. But Vaughn said he saw a model that said that the trough that's coming down out of Canada right now, because Katia is moving east into the Gulf, that trough's going to grab it and pull it over into Florida.
Last thing I seen,
put that video up. He just put that up before I came on here, and he showed.
Well, that's BP Earthwatch, man. Come on.
I know.
Jesse is a fucking goob.
But I watched this. This is an actual video from NASA, or from the hurricane watchers, and it showed the eastward movement of that hurricane, because it's 75 mile an hour plus right now, which is actually as strong, if not stronger, and the megabars are lower than Jose.
Yeah, it's 75 mile an hour is a Cat 1. Is it a Cat 1 already?
Yeah, it's a Cat 1. It's a hurricane already. But
they all are.
Last I seen is it was going into Mexico.
It was only a tropical storm earlier, or a tropical depression early this morning. So it's gone through.
A couple of days ago, they only gave it a 10% chance of development.
Formation.
And all of a sudden, a couple of days later, it's a...
Well, Harvey was like that too, if you remember.
Yeah.
They had it off the coast, and it's just this, and then all of a sudden, bam.
That's why I don't trust them with their hurricane.
Those hard boys are.
This other storm, with Irma, they say, "Oh, this way." Well, who can? It's a computer telling you this. They can be wrong too.
Those are guys that are operating Harper on their game, ain't they?
If I was a crazy North Korean dictator, now would be a good time to set off an EMP, don't you think? Well, we're distracted. The Pacific Northwest is just burning the hell up.
You don't have it. You don't have it. Are you talking about the satellite?
Matter. You know what? He probably doesn't have it, but somebody's going to fucking give it to him.
That, or we could just do it to ourselves and blame it on him.
Yeah.
That's what I thought they were going to do in San Francisco when they took the...
What about all the hurricanes over there in Idaho or earthquakes over there?
No.
I know.
When they took the embassy from the Russians in San Francisco, and then all of a sudden the FBI started searching it. I thought they were going to all come running out. Well, no, I thought they were all going to come running out going, there's a nuke.
bumper traffic right now on I-75.
You know,
bumper traffic.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you think, Jimmy, about all those earthquakes? You had that 5.4 the other day out there, and
there's been several thousand earthquakes since that 5.4.
Yeah.
You know, there's been several thousand aftershocks. So I don't know. You know, it could just be magma movement because we all know, according to science, that the Yellowstone's moving to the southwest into Idaho, the hot pocket of the magma chamber, if you want to believe what science says about it.
Well, NASA's going to drill a hole and pop the pimple.
Yeah, there's been like 2 million people that said, no, NASA, you're not going to do that. We're not going to let you. There was a huge gathering of scientists, geologists, and volcanologists that said, no, we're not going to let them do it. They can talk about it all they want to, but we're not going to let them do it. So, but they've done it. I mean, look, there are power plants in California. I know of at least 3 of them in California that have their geothermal power plants, and they have giant loops of pipe stuck down into calderas, old calderas, and they're using volcanic heat to heat the water and generate steam to run the fucking power plant.
So I know that they blamed some of the fires in the Pacific Northwest on these 15-year-old boys.
Yeah.
But geologist friends of mine have said the Cascadias will go long before Yellowstone goes. Guess where all the fires are at?
Yep, and I've also heard quite a few of them are lightning strikes also. You know, dry thunderstorms that are, dry strike lightning that are being set off like that.
If it's emitting heat from underneath because there's movement going on underneath there.
Oh, isn't that where, wasn't it some geothermal spring? I don't know if this was in Yellowstone or if it was out in Hot Springs out in California, but some dude dove into one to save his dog because his dog took off and ran into the lake and started screaming and shit. So the guy dove in to try to save his dog, and the guy got scalded to death too. I can't remember if that was Yellowstone or if that was out in California, but yeah, there's a lot of heat coming to the surface. I remember 2 years ago doing a story about roads being closed in North Yellowstone because they were melting.
Yep. Animals are leaving that area too.
It was 2 years ago. I was out there, remember, and I couldn't get home because every road that we had gone on, little towns that we had visited the day before were gone the next day.
Yeah. So lots of strange shit happening on this planet. And I'm going to say it again. I said it earlier tonight. I'm going to say it again. We are being cleansed. This planet is being cleansed right now. I talked about it at least 2 weeks ago, I think, or maybe it was last week. I can't remember. Time's just flying by so fast right now. But there's a UVC radiation coming off of the sun, making it to the surface of the Earth. UVC is what they use to kill bacteria. It's the frequency of light that they use to kill bacteria. So, yeah.
Did you see that?
Germ-free.
I just, I don't know. Go ahead, Lori.
Did you see that X flare come off the sun today?
Yeah, 9.3. We're going to start talking about that right now, actually. 9.3 is what the officials are calling it. If you look at any chart on any kind of app that you want to pull up, it was over a 10. I think it was like a 10.4, 10.5, actually. And they're not telling everybody that there was 2 X flares that happened today. There was one just before the second one, the large one, that was like a 1.8. And nobody's talking about that either. So, the shock wave from this, the concussion from this, is supposed to be hitting the Earth about early Saturday morning, our time, Central Time.
Just in time for the storm, and all communications will go down.
Yep.
Here's one thing I'm going to tell you. Too. Here's one thing I'm going to tell everybody right now. I used to poo-poo solar flares because we never saw one that was even close to a 10. They were like 1.2s, 1.5s, blah, 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 blah. And everybody's like, oh, my God, there's an X flare coming. This is I'm believing what I see on the charts, and this is over a 10. Just to be safe, I'm not telling you guys what to do. Just to be safe, I have already unplugged all of my communication equipment, and I am going to take the battery out of my truck before I go to bed Friday night. Just to be safe. I've already undone my solar panels from the feed lines going in. I don't know if I'm going to cover the panels or not. I'm debating that because I don't know if just being out there looking up at it, that'll burn them up. I don't know. I've already got a panel made to slip over them, so I can probably do that really quick, and I think I'll do that. But I'm not telling you guys what to do. And a lot of people tell me that I'm just, you're stupid, man, or whatever. Whatever. It's 2 minutes with a wrench, and that battery's disconnected.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take all the grounds loose from the batteries on the motorcycles and the vehicles.
I would take both posts off because if there is any power source whatsoever, it can be energized by a solar EMP.
Okay, listen to this, guys. If you're going to do it, if you're listening and you're really heeding the warning, take the positive and negative and touch them together, which will take all the juice out of your brain on your car.
Touch the
it
cables,
won't be alive.
Not the battery. Don't touch the positive and negative of the battery. Touch the cables together to drain the power out of the dashboard.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
If you just take them loose and touch them together or run a wrench across and touch them together, all you're doing is taking that real small voltage. I mean, it's not much voltage, but it's what keeps that computer alive. And when you take that away, then it's not sitting there. If something does come, it won't draw to it, okay? Because that's what we're talking about. An energy that's coming from the sun that ain't that far away, and it's going to slam this earth at a 10-point something. That's that's big.
Yeah. So that's just what I'm doing. You guys can do whatever you want to do. That's just something, the little precaution that I'm taking. There's actually a minor one from a M-class flare that's hitting us as we speak. And I think that's probably part of the reason that Lance is having trouble getting on. I think that's, there's been quite a few. I was watching some live streams today, and they were having trouble connected, and they're staying connected. People were getting dropped from calls, and so we're experiencing a minor geomagnetic storm right now. But the one that's coming,
like you said, watch for earthquakes and shit.
Volcanic eruptions. I'm looking for a volcanic eruption off of this one.
That one in Southern California they've been watching?
I don't know. The entire west coast from Baja all the way down to South America has been extremely quiet quake-wise for a long time. So there's a lot of stress built up right there. I think that might be where it breaks. I don't know. We'll wait. I'm waiting to see. This is going to be a huge pressure wave. I don't think it's coming at us at several million miles an hour because the sun's only 3,100 miles away. I think when we see these solar bursts coming off, they're coming off at about 100 miles an hour. And it takes about 3 days, 36 hours for them to get here, something like that. So depends on how fast they're coming off. But, that's just my thoughts. You guys can think whatever you want on your globular thoughts. Moving on. No, well, I want to stay on this for a little bit. This is actually a pretty big event. I don't want to make light of it. This is the first X-class flare that we've seen for like a decade or something?
Mm-hmm. I've been watching this for a long time, and I remember seeing some of them that were in 4s and 5s, and if you really followed them real close, you could watch the wind come up. Mm-hmm. When it was hit, the wind would come up, and there would be alterations to communication. Your phone would drop. You'd be talking to somebody, and the phone would drop out. Okay, and you'd been pissed off at the phone, but you know what it was? It was just that, and signals of all sorts. It's going to mess with communication big time. I mean, that's serious. We don't have to predict this because it's actually going to happen because it has in the past.
I'm pretty sure, if we are on the sunlit side of the storm when it gets here, then I'm pretty sure it's going to throw some energy into the top of that hurricane too. I'm just saying, because they're already talking that the cloud tops are pushing 70,000 feet, and that's way fucking up there, man. You know, that's that's twice as high as a jet flies for a commercial airliner. So, I'm just saying, you know, that's a lot of heat, energy, and you know, because that's what it is. It's ultraviolet. It's going to make it's going to make everything that it touches hot. So there you go.
Well, let me add this. I've got a couple gas cans that are red. They're plastic, and I removed them out of my shed, set them alongside my tool shed. And I want you to know the sun has drawn all the color out of the top of those. They're white now. Mm-hmm. The red's gone. So if anybody doesn't realize what we're talking about, the intensity of sun and sunlight, it will draw the color right out of your car. I mean, that's why they put a special clear on it. It's anti-glare or so it doesn't mess with it.
It's actually in some spots where the cars have been sitting out in the sun, like down in South Texas and shit like that. Some of the dealerships are reporting that the windshields are actually separating the different layers. You know, like there's like an outside layer of glass and an inside layer of glass, and there's this like Lexan piece going through it, and then there's the clear glues and shit. That the panes are actually separating because it's getting so hot that it's boiling the glue between the glass and popping them apart. That's pretty fucking intense, dude. It's peeling the paint off of people's cars too, going off of their hoods and their roofs and shit. It's pretty bad. I've seen stop signs that were bleached completely white.
Oh yeah, that's something that's I won't even mention his name, but out in Arizona, he's been doing a study of that.
Mr. MBB, Mr. MBB 3333, the little guy that's trying to drag onto BP Earthwatch's coattails.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, fucking goober. But no, I mean, I've actually seen quite a few people posting about that. You know, they just changed the stop signs out in this one town it's up by you actually, Dave. It's up in North Dakota somewhere. They changed the stop signs out like 4 or 5 years ago because they were getting old and weathered, and some of the ones that they changed out were 25 years old, and the new ones that they put up bleached out in 5 years. So
yeah, they're starting to use solar powered ones up here now.
Yeah, with the little blinky lights all the way around them and shit, so you can see them at night.
They're getting them all over the place up here.
Mm-hmm. It's probably because if it bleaches out, the lights will still work.
Well, the neighbor put a steel roof or a metal roof on her house, and it glares. I was standing out there, I was doing some painting, and I turned around, and that sun hit that and hit me. It was like blinding. And I thought, oh, this is going to be nice. So anything that's in reflection of that, I must be careful because it will either. I hope it don't set fire to something because I mean that's seriously how hot that was coming off of there.
Well, I'll tell you what, I take my son to school every morning around what time we leave here, around 7:30 in the morning, and the sun is so brighter than I can barely even see driving down the road because I'm heading
white
east. And so the sun's coming up, and I mean, it's bright as I've ever seen it. And then I pick my son up from football practice when the sun's going down, and it's so bright sitting in the west, I can barely, in the west, I can barely see.
And it's almost,
in fact, the sun's getting brighter, man.
It's like
it's not just the sun, but the clouds have been freaky too lately. Well, here anyways.
The sun's like it's like a blue-white until it's set too.
It's like white you don't almost. Get it's just like someone shining a headlight right in your eyes.
Yep. Couple of things in the room here. I'm going to get Mr. AK said The Economist magazine has this on its cover, and that's true. The newest release of The Economist magazine, the cover story, and one of the longest articles inside, what the magazine's based on this month, is floods. So, yeah, they're just poking a stick in our eye.
Yeah,
let's see.
Up with floods.
Poor Man's Gold said that's because the new paint is junk due to EPA regs. It could be that too. They could have been made on a Friday. So, there's all kinds of things. But, for every single sign to be bleached out in 5 years is just, I don't know. But anyway, let's see. Mr. AK says, good luck, everyone. Hope we're all here next week. I'm not in Florida. So, I don't know if the internet's still going to be here next week, but I'm pretty sure I'm still going to be here, God willing.
Well, I ride my motorcycle with amber goggles, like those amber ones you're wearing right now. And the reason I do is because that is the only way I could see. If I walk outside with just my my lenses totally adjust, it's still hazy. But if I put those amber glasses on, it takes all that and brings clarity back.
Yeah.
So we may all be walking around soon with amber goggles on.
Well, white and blue light, I mean, that's what you want to try to filter out. So, and I don't go anywhere outside without polarized glasses on. Nowhere.
Well, remember that movie Cecil did, that actor? He wore those goggles because something to do with his eyes. He could see real well at night or something. I forget what the Diesel's name.
Oh, Vin Diesel?
Yeah, Van Diesel, yeah. And, that was because of the sunlight. Who's to say the sun ain't going to get there? Why is it we always think everything's going to just stay like it is?
Yeah, there was I got to say, early last year, because I know it's at least been 18 months ago that I remember this report coming out. There was a WebBot report months and months and months and months and months and months and months ago that was talking about the sun and how it's changing. And they said that by 2020, it will start taking the vision of the old and the young. If they go outside without glasses or goggles or something to protect their eyes, the rays of the sun will be so intense by 2020 that it will make them go blind in a matter of hours.
That's only a couple years from now, guys.
Yeah, I mean, that was a WebBot report from at least a year and a half ago. So that knowledge has been out there, man. Cliff High has every one of his reports is still online and available for purchase. They're $15 a piece. If you guys see behind me, that one right there that's hanging up, I just got that one a couple of days ago. This is the final one, maybe. It's the final WebBot report that Cliff is going to put out. Maybe. Probably. He's focusing on cryptos now. I don't know why. People are being super greedy with these cryptos. I don't know. I just see it bringing out the worst in people. And I, honest to God, if you want my honest opinion, I think that it's all part of the scam.
Well, you just made a statement there with this X-Flare and this eclipse. We haven't had one that strong, but we've had this eclipse, and now all of a sudden, that bad boy's kicking off 10 point something 4 or whatever it was. That's going to tell you something is happening. Something. You're right. When that eclipse happened, that was a look up. Something's going on.
Well, we got 7 years till the next one. Ironically, the tribulation is 7 years.
Yeah, it's gonna make an X right across the New Madrid in southern Illinois. That's where the center point of the X is going to be. So I don't know. There's just so many. There's so many things that are. I don't believe in consequences at all. Not at all. There's a cause for everything. You might not see it, but
Let's predict this. Washington, D.C. has got that Mount St. Helens, right? You're talking about volcanic action. We're talking about Irma going up into South Carolina. That's the perfect cross of the eclipse. Let's just pay attention to that and see what happens, because that would be amazing.
Actually, if you watch where Irma is supposed to make landfall, it's only probably 50 miles from where the eclipse came off the coast of South Carolina. So, there's just so many things that make you shake your head and go, "Wow, what's really going on, man? Are we living in a fucking dream? Are we living in a game?"
When the eclipse hit our west coast, the sun was setting in Israel.
Yeah, and it went through seven different communities with the word Salem in the name.
Not like Salem witch hunts, but like Jerusalem.
Right. It's just strange. There are so many signs if you have eyes to see them.
Well, God said that he would show us signs in the heavens.
And in the earth.
Yep. I don't know how much more he can do to wake people up. And so, and I have many friends that are missionaries, and, we've tried years to get into certain countries that just won't have anything, communist, whatever, China.
Right.
And it takes something like this to allow the gospel into those countries.
Yeah. I don't know. You're gonna believe in whatever higher power you're gonna believe in. So long as you believe in one, I think is all that really matters. You have to know that there's somebody else in charge. There's something else out there in charge. We're not just some random drop of water in this ever expanding pool. It's not that way, man. It's not that way. No matter what your God of science wants to tell you, they're wrong.
Well, the tomatoes this year had a very heavy skin on them. And according to the farmers, that means a bad winter. Okay,
Yeah,
so
hard winter.
yeah, we could have a bad winter. I mean, what else could really top off the icing of all this going on?
No, don't say that.
That's forecast in the Farmer's Almanac too. I don't know. I haven't seen any woolly bears yet because it's still kind of early in the season for woolly bears. But the woolly bears will let us know if they're black this year. That's a bad sign.
I've seen people talking about seeing them already up in the Northeast.
Yeah, see, it's too warm down here yet. But although it did get down into the 50s last night, and it's getting down into the 50s tonight, I tried to get my hot tub started up, but there was a massacre. Because when I was moving it around, I started stirring up a wasp nest that's down inside it somewhere. And damn, man, I bet I killed 25 of the fuckers. Because they just kept coming out and kept coming out and kept. I was smoking them down with some diatomaceous earth out of a little puffer thingy I got, a little puffer thingy. I was smoking them down with that, and then as they get all dazed and flop around, I just smack them out of the sky and stomp on them, man. It took me 3 or 4 hours to get them all. So I haven't filled up the tub yet.
Jim went to war with the bugs.
It was a massacre. I'll take you guys a video tomorrow and put it on Facebook. There's bodies everywhere out there. It's horrible. Little bitty red fuckers. I can't stand them. They're everywhere down here.
Well, Dave said it was down in the 30s up there in the Dakotas.
No shit, Dave?
Yeah, it got down to 38, 39 this morning.
Oof. It was like 56, I think, last night, and it's supposed to get down to 51 tonight. That's almost perfect. That's perfect weather for hot tubbing, man. I wished I could have got it filled up because it'd be warm by the time I got off the radio. Shit. Anyway. John's talking about crop circles. What about crop circles, John?
I've heard nothing about crop circles forever. Is there any logic to them? Has anybody figured that out?
It's the alien deception coming.
It's aliens. Sornprar, check this out. Sornprar said in the room, I think the rays of the sun are very much the same. Our protective wrapping is thinning out and being poisoned with fake protective wrapper. Well, okay, there are a ton of fucking chemicals in the sky. I'm not going to deny that. They're spraying us like bugs on a daily basis. However, the sun is inside our atmosphere. It's only about 3,000 miles up, 3,100 miles up, something like that. So's the moon, okay? So as far as our protective coating or whatever, there's no magnetopause. There's no... Come on, man. That's Scientology. That's scientism. That's fake. Look. I don't want to get into the semantics or anything like that, but yeah, take everything.
There's a story that just came out.
Go ahead. Thanks for breaking.
This just came out of L.A. from Fox 11, one of their big Fox stations out there, big headlines.
It's got to be the news if it's Fox.
Millions of American lives could be at stake as North Korea threatens to attack power grid.
What? Fuck,
come on. Big Big headlines coming out of it.
Oh yeah,
Be the perfect time to do it.
they have a satellite right over that's been flying over the top of us for years and years. They can't get a fucking missile to go more than 1,000 miles, but they got satellites over the top of us. Come on, man, what are you going to believe? What kind of story are you going to believe next? What kind of story? Well, I'm just throwing it out there, man. You know, I mean, we constantly scoff at how he can't get a fucking missile to fly more than a couple 100 kilometers before it breaks up in the fucking lower atmosphere. But they're going to tell you that he's got satellites flying over us every fucking 7 hours or whatever. Like, come on, man. Come on.
But Dave, I'm with Dave. I'm thinking it's a false. You
Yeah,
know,
they're
they
setting this
always
up for
tell
a
us.
false.
Absolutely.
They always fucking tell us.
Absolutely.
Well, what's funny too is that CBS put a big story out tonight. Major cyber firm says hackers are targeting U.S. energy grid.
Yeah, I've seen a couple.
So this
stories
is all
about that,
going together. They're planning a false flag to take down the grid here sometime.
Right before winter.
So what do you think that you think they're gonna fucking make Guam glow and blame it on Kim, or what are they
I think
gonna?
what they're going to do is they're going to take the grid down, our own government, and they're either going to blame it on cyber
Right.
hackers out of North Korea, or they're going to say North Korea launched a EMP.
Oh yeah, but how are they going to get it here? Are they going to say that it came off a submarine off the coast, or because
Well, they got everybody believing that he has ICBM capability now, and that he can hit all the way to Chicago or Washington, D.C., and now that he tested that hydrogen bomb, they're saying, oh, shit, now he can put that on the end of this ICBM and launch it up and knock the grid out.
Okay, I might go a little long tonight just to let you know because I got to get this out. I got to get this out to everybody. Here's the real poop, people. If it is a single warhead, it will only affect a couple of 100 miles of ground. They're going to try to show you some kind of map that says that if he sets it off at 5 miles up or whatever, that he can hit this much area. And if he sets it off at 25 miles, he can have hit this much area. Whatever. That's not the case. That's not the case. The higher up that bomb explodes, the less effect that it has on anything. An EMP from a hydrogen bomb has to be within a couple of miles of you before it will have any effect on your electronics whatsoever. Look it up.
But the only changer on that is the simple fact that they know where the key station is. In other words, the circuitry.
They might be able to take down 1/10 of the grid, but
Right.
there are safeties. There are safeties that will enact and that will stop it from cascading across the country.
Well, this is what he's saying. What they're saying is the higher the bomb's detonation, the wider the range of destruction. An altitude just under 250 miles around the orbit of the International Space Station would annihilate electronics in the majority of the mainland, including parts of neighboring Canada and Mexico.
That's complete bullshit, people.
And that's what they're telling everybody, though.
That is complete bullshit. We have tested these weapons in this country.
I believe
Listen,
you. You're preaching to the choir, dude. They're
Right,
setting
right.
this up for a false flag
I
because
got you.
90% of Americans are going to believe what they read.
Okay, well, listen. There are films of bombs going off. Okay, so if this thing conks out electronics for everybody forever, in a split second because they launched it at 250 miles, how the fuck did they film the bomb going off? You know, come on, man. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that this is all complete horseshit.
Oh, yeah, too bad most Americans don't buy what the mainstream media tells
They
them.
are not capable of critical thinking anymore. The 90% of this planet just believes everything that they're told.
Well, they're going to cut the gas and the power to Florida here in the next couple of days, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah, you know, if the entire grid in the United States goes down, it's because somebody flipped a switch, not because a bomb went off somewhere.
They actually need to turn that shit off down there.
You know,
Well,
listen,
Otherwise
there's
there'll be explosions like there was in Houston. I'm sorry, Jim.
Google Operation Fishbowl, because we did the exact same thing right over the top of the United States with nuclear weapons back in the 60s, right? We were trying to blow a hole through the firmament. and they shot the thing a couple hundred miles up in the air and set it off. It didn't knock out the fucking grid back then. So, you know, I mean, you people believe what you want to believe, man. You believe whatever Wolf Blitzer tells you, or fucking some lip-glossed fancy ass on Fox, or what, you know, believe whatever you want to believe, man. The facts are available to anyone that wants to look up the facts.
Yeah, I believe you, but you're living in a country of idiocracy now. So.
Oh, I know. I just want to make sure that everybody's that hears this can realize real lies when they hear them.
Yeah, because the reality is that that EMP thing bullshit is not capable and never has been capable. Just like Jim's saying, you know, they'd have to mirage this whole sky with fucking bombs to fucking even cause that kind of a trauma to this nation.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect time for it, though.
Yeah, for example, Washington Post put out a big story tonight saying North Korea is able to launch a complete nuclear attack on America now.
Yay! I feel sorry for all you fuckers in California and Washington State and Oregon. I really do. I really, really do. Because I think that's where it's going to start. I don't know how the hell they're going to hit that. I mean, you know, they might bomb Kansas City and fucking Chicago and Philly and Dallas, and I don't know how the fuck they're going to do this, but I figured.
Wait, there was a list.
I hope that all they do is drop the grid. I hope that that's all they do is drop the grid. I hope they don't start setting nukes off in this country and blaming it on somebody. Go ahead. Sorry, Lori.
Oh, it's okay.
No. Go ahead. We got we'll go 5 more minutes.
I'm yawning anyways.
We'll stop at 10:10. So go ahead and finish.
No, it's okay.
You said that there was a list of something. Go on.
There was a list of cities that North Korea had put out there that they were looking at hitting anyways.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I forget who they were.
I'm glad that you're out of Indianapolis.
Wasn't me.
I'm glad you're out of Indy.
Me too.
For any consultation.
Thanks for announcing that, though.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you know, moving to Detroit was a bad move, man. I mean, you know, the city's falling apart. I understand that you got the house for $1, but still, man, you know.
Can you see me in Detroit?
Yes, actually, I can.
I would own that fucking town. Me and Kid Rock, man, it would just be over. Dude.
You and Kid Rock.
Yeah.
Are you going to be his campaign manager?
Fuck.
He's running for what? He's running for the Congress or Senate or some fucking bullshit or something. I can't remember what it was, man. And who else is running? Not Schwarzenegger. Who's the other? The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
Rock. Dwayne?
Yeah, Dwayne the Rock Johnson's also running
in Puerto Rico right now.
Office.
He's running for president.
Oh, god damn, man.
Oh, hell, I'd vote him in. He's got a nice ass.
Can you smell what I'm cooking?
Oh, baby.
Yeah, I can, dude. Light a match, will you? Anyway, all right. Maybe we'll go ahead and shut that off right now. I mean, trying to end on a fart. I ended it on a fart joke. Actually, I was requested by Jersey Dolphins. I think was the requester that I play the same music that I play in to play out, because everybody likes that song, that little lyric that I play when I start the show. So I think
this just came out. 11 p.m. advisory for Irma. It says Hurricane Irma keeps its 185 mile per hour winds, 225 mile per hour gusts, passing north of Dominican Republic next.
225 mile an hour gusts.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like I said, they recorded one in Barbosa or Barbuda at 216.
Did you see the eye wall is 18 miles across, though?
Yeah, it's tight.
18 fucking miles.
It's tight. It's super, super tight. You know, a normal hurricane's got like 50-mile wide eyes. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, it's tight. And the thing looks like a saw blade. I mean, it's completely symmetrical.
60,000 feet high wall clouds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're pushing 70. They're above 60,000 feet.
Jesus.
So, yeah, it's a big monster. It's a big monster, and it's going to keep getting bigger, too, from what I hear, for at least
Florida's
a couple
gonna
days.
get chewed up, man.
Yep. I got
And Georgia and South Carolina.
Can I sell you some oceanfront property real cheap?
Yeah, no
shit. Georgia might have, well, they already do, kind of, for a little smack, but fucking Atlanta might be on the ocean here pretty soon.
It's going to wash all the cocaine out. The price of cocaine's going to go up in this country.
Damn it.
You got to know, too.
There goes Christmas presents for you guys. Just saying.
Even if the eye wall stays off of the East Coast, this storm is large enough that the outer bands are still going to be past Pensacola.
Yep.
Okay. Everybody.
It's going to be a fun week.
No shit.
Good night, Lori. Good night, Dave.
Good night, John Boy. Good
Night,
night,
Dave.
Mary Ellen.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Lori. Thanks, Vaughn. I appreciate you guys. I'm actually probably going to drop the Skype call because I'm going to go ahead and play us out with music. So I'll say goodnight to you guys right now. Good night, guys. Thanks. And
All right, Jimmy.
See you next week.
Good night, sweet.
Okay. So, Jersey, here's your request, man. We are going to end the show the same way that we begin it. And I'll tell you guys the same way I always do. Love, peace, and cookies.